Zobel, why don't you tell me a little bit about Perú Design Net?
Perú Design Net is a project that unites professionals, institutions, universities, companies, and citizens from all over the world so that together through design, they can turn the country into an example of change and progress, right? Besides that, it's just such a cool design, right? It's like, it's not only is it a great topic, it's a great thing about Peruvian natives and maker spaces, but just the way that Infinito, the design company who did it was just so interesting. And it's just, you look at it and you're like, I need to go there. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, that's great. You know what it is, like they stand for like amazing things, but it almost doesn't matter because their design is just so interesting, right? Let's talk about their design. So the first thing that grabs me when I look at that is just like, I'm a typography nerd. Like, I just love when things typographically follow something that's different, right? We can see typeset, but all of a sudden when you do something that I can clearly read this as type, but yet it's beautiful, it's geometric, it's simple, it's complex, it has repetition, it's textural, it's emotional. All the things that I want in design are like in this one really simple but complex graphic, right? So not only are they using solid geometric shapes, right? But they're also using pattern as this idea, right? They're using this repetition of pattern to form this typography. And not only that, if that wasn't enough for you, the choice of colors is like gorgeous. They seem like they shouldn't go together, but they do beautifully. The mix of oranges and violet kind of purples and this kind of obnoxious cyan color that are on its own, maybe it's too loud. And then there's a pink in there and you're like, this seems fun. It seems interactive. I think it's a really clever way of pulling in like the idea of pattern and cultural patterns and stuff like that in a really sophisticated way. And then they throw these like single toned or maybe duotoned images kind of in place of some of them. And it's just so unexpected to see this contrast of like line, shape, and simplicity with these really dynamic visuals. And then, you know, as you kind of go through, they have a whole network, a whole system of how these things are going to interact. And not only they're just sitting there, they're interacting with the actual pieces themselves, the actual letters. And it's just like, again, there's an emotional tie-in. It's complicated, but yet I can clearly see it. Like when we get those mixes and those balances, that's what design is all about.
How much do you care that it might take a second for someone to read the logo as actual words?
Yeah, so that's a debate that probably will continue to go on. For me, I think the challenge is we become so dumbed down in design and in everything that if it's not easily understood immediately, people say, oh, well, I can't read it, I don't care. It's like, if you just take 3 seconds to think beyond that a little bit more, or if we train people to think beyond that a little bit more with what our design was doing, people would take the time to do that. But everything is so split second. It's the reason that designs and things look the way they do currently, because it's just trying to get that 1 second audience, and you're never going to create a deep design with that. You're just not, right? Typography, like if you're challenging us with typography, you should be challenging. That's what they're doing. So I shouldn't get it right away. I should feel like I want to invest time and energy into it. And there's a theory that goes with this. Like if you don't understand it, if you don't get it, it's not for you. I don't want you here anyway then, right? If you don't understand the simple idea that an E can be represented by the way that it is in this piece, then you shouldn't come here. Then forget about it.
What is the importance of being able to translate that design over to other aspects besides just the logo?
What first attracted me was this setup that they have. They have this like guide or book that's there, and just the use of their color schemes and how this typography works on this front cover that they then turned into a t-shirt is just so stunning. It's like, I want to open that, I want to have it, I want to own it, I want to have it on a bookshelf, I want to display it, right? Again, talking about taking something away from its functionality and turning it into this beautiful art piece. That's amazing. That's luxurious. That's just so delicious. All right. Like it's delicious. Like it just connects with me on that level. right? So you create this poster. All right, well, how am I going to use that on a badge? How am I going to use that on a shirt? How am I going to use that same graphic visual feeling on other things? And just as you look through the work and you're looking at that, just like the name badges are just so good, right? It's this pop of color with these simple white typography, but yeah, it's pulling pattern and line the same way that it does on the original artwork. And it does it in such an abstract way, but such a way that you know that it's a part of the same event, even without knowing that, right? You feel it. And that's like, graphic design is so strong when you can feel it rather than you being told, oh, this is sophisticated. Oh, this is it. Like, if you could just feel that emotion to it, like, that's so strong and so powerful, right? And then when you see them like all stacked together, all visually in one line, it's like, this just looks like something more powerful than if I just put a smile of some happy person cooking something with something underneath. It's like, okay, you could do that and that's easy, but like, this is tricky. This is complicated. This takes thought and process for why am I doing it this way? And it's unexpected. And it's something that's just like grabs you. It's the way that design should be integrated, right? You're using aspects of it. It doesn't have to be the same thing. You're using aspects of it, but it feels the same, and that's what's important.
How hard is that to do?
Yeah, I mean, it can be, it's challenging. I mean, I think if you design a good system for your graphic, like if you design a graphic and you decide, oh, I'm going to pull textures, or I'm going to pull lines, or I'm going to pull typography from it, it's not that challenging, but you have to know to think that way, right? You have to know to think that I don't have to use the same exact graphic to make my point. If I can emotionally feel it by color scheme, by attitude, by the use of typography, like if I can choose those moments and my design is solid from the start, then it's easy. But if your design is like average and cheesy and not great from the start, it's really hard to make it connect, because what separates that from any other design that's using the same components, right? And I think that's what separates good design from just design, right? I tell my students and anyone who will listen, design is easy. Good design is hard.